Hello there, dear Facebook friends. I'm so excited about this interview that we're going to have with Gail Lynn. I've known Gail for quite a few years. We did a little work together, and I'm just fascinated by all the things that she's been able to do. But we're going to be specifically talking today a little bit about her journey. How does she get involved in this kind of energy work? And then she can tell her story about what was going on in her life at that time that led her to seek a different way to uh, have better health. And then she's created this device. I don't know what it's not a device, but it's called the harmonic egg. And I want to be sure that we talk about that enough. But anyway, let's invite Gail to join us. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Dr. B. So good to see you again. It's been years.
I know it has been. All my treks up to Westminster, Westminster a few years ago. But anyway, yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We really enjoy a wide variety of people that have anywhere from music to movement to singing, and then the traditional healthcare type things. But I'm really excited to have you share your story with us. So, could you tell us just a little bit about you and how you got started in seeking a different way for greater health?
Oh boy, you got about an hour? Just kidding.
Well, not quite that long, but
I
yeah.
know. So, well, I grew up in the Detroit area in Michigan, and I was kind of an engineer, did project management, and then I thought, oh, this isn't changing the world. I need something else. So I moved to Texas and I started running an international consulting firm in telecom and that was fun, but still boring. International travel, was traveling all over the world and ended up marrying my business partner, which was a mistake. We should have stayed as business partners. And so that ended in divorce, right? So then I'm upset. I go to a karate studio to kind of work out my anger and do some kickboxing and some sparring. And I end up meeting Elvis Presley's stepbrother, which I didn't even believe. I thought, well,
What?
this guy's just making this up. So he was our seminar teacher for a seminar at the karate school. Well, Elvis was an 8th degree black belt in Kempo karate.
Oh, really?
Not a lot of people know that. So he said, "Oh yeah, I was, my mom married Vernon Presley when Elvis's mom died, and I lived in Graceland." I was like, "Sure, you did." Nobody knows Elvis. It's like knowing Mickey Mouse. So he brought in all kinds of books and pictures of him and Elvis, and he was on tour with Elvis. So we started dating, and we ended up making a movie together called
Really?
Protecting the King. And it was, a 16-year-old boy goes to work for his world famous stepbrother, who happens to be Elvis Presley, and protects him from everyone but himself. Because ultimately, no one can protect Elvis from himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is just a long career, and we're going on maybe 20, 25 years for me. And I went to the doctor and he says, "You have severe cardiovascular stress on your heart rate variability test, and you're on the verge of an instant heart attack." And
Yikes. That's
I was
scary.
like, okay, like what? I'm 37 years old at the time. And I thought, OMG, I've got to change my ways. Otherwise, I'm not going to be around. And I was looking to change the world. I'm doing something I want to just, automotive wasn't it, telecom wasn't it, Hollywood wasn't it. And so God, creator, whatever word you use, God was saying, okay, you're going to do this. You're going to heal yourself, just like most healers. They get into healing or counseling or therapy because they've healed themselves and they want to help others to heal. It's the same thing everybody goes through. I found sound and light therapy, and in a weekend of a couple of sessions, my heart rate variability test went out of the cardiovascular stress and it blew my mind.
Hmm.
As an engineer, that doesn't fit in my head. I laid in this box with sound and light and healing's happening. So I'm thinking, well, we're vibrational beings of light from God, our creator. Why not heal with sound and light? So that started the journey in 2010. I opened a sound and light healing center when literally everything would not work out for me. God was telling me I'd go to one door to try to get back into corporate, slam shut. Go to another door, slam shut. The only opportunity for me was to open this wellness center, and I didn't want to do it. I kept saying no, 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 no. God said yes, 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 yes. I lost. The universe won. And the rest is kind of history. But as I was running the center, I kept seeing in my mind's eye more of an egg-shaped 360 degree of healing instead of the rectangular box that I was starting with that someone else invented. So as I started to develop that, and I realized 360 degrees of healing in a cosmic structure of an egg using the golden mean ratio, sacred geometry, better audio files, better lighting, it all just came together. So you look back and you say, okay, she was an engineer. That's where the universe put her. Then in telecom, running an international business. Then in Hollywood, to be able to do these interviews where I'm not stumbling and I'm having some extemporaneous communication. So this little blue collar Detroit girl, it just kind of came forward and was all guided by intuition.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful story. And I tell people, if you have a dream, go do it. I love my life. I love how I've followed the path of being guided. Have I lost everything a couple times? Yes. But if you don't take any chances, you're never going to fulfill your dreams.
That is absolutely right. I emphasize this so much with our patients, and we've done a lot of things about calling forth your creative energy, because we're all creative geniuses, okay? Every one of us has something that can come forth from us that will make a difference in our world. And I know how important that is to you, because you say it over and over again. I really want to make a difference. And, so do I. And, I've always been attracted to what you're doing and to you personally, because you're a beautiful human being. So can you tell us a little bit more about this? I love the idea of harmonic egg, and I'll put a picture. I think I put a picture up. I'll put another picture up so people can see what it looks like. But how did you come up with the design? I mean,
Well, I just want to go back to what you're saying. I thank you so much because you have helped so many people. So many people love you and adore you. So I just want to say that. Thank you for all you do as well. So let me just say that and acknowledge you, because you're a beautiful soul.
Thank you, Gail.
Yeah. So, I think it was experience, intuition, and my engineering mind that created this. And there's a lot of, in the dream state, people, I get a lot of my, I'll call downloads or my information when I'm waking up. Before the mind gets active, before you start checking emails and your phone's going off and, you hear the TV's on and, so many things are happening. When we can get quiet in our head, that's when the information comes through from Creator, from God. Like I said, whatever word you use. I was raised Catholic, so I, tend to use the word God. And I think that information is all out there for anyone to grab, and so I just grabbed it. And it is a huge structure. So it's 11 foot wide by 7 foot tall by 7 foot wide when it's closed. And a person can actually sit in there. It's made out of wood, because wood doesn't hold information or energy. Wood has antiseptic properties. Wood has its own energy. So we've found, one type of wood. We started the prototype with a pressed wood, and that was a lot of different combinations of wood. So I could hear all the different wood spirits talking, like, dee, 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 dee. I said, this isn't going to work. We have to have just one type of wood, so that it's just that one wood spirit. And it just is such a beautiful creation. And I can't take credit for it. I mean, literally, it came from source and it came through me. When I see my name on it as the inventor, I laugh, because who is Gail Lynn, right?
Yeah.
I am just another, soul being here. We're all one. We're all source energy. And so as the information started coming through, I realized the different colors will help the different chakras.
Yeah.
And different instruments will help different organs in the body. So I don't necessarily focus on 528 hertz or 396 hertz because that can be different for everybody. If you're vibrating, if you read the book Power versus Force by David Hawkins, he talks about the different vibrations and Christ-like energies, 1,000 hertz. I believe the egg vibrates at around 900 hertz. So we don't want to put 528 in there and bring that, that resonance down. So I started researching instruments. So the drum, the flute, the didgeridoo are all some ancient instruments that have been used for healing from the Greeks, the Egyptians, the Aborigines. And they say for 40,000 years, they've found evidence of 40,000 years ago, the Aborigines were using the didgeridoo, which I've tried to play and I suck at it.
I know, me too. I bought one time. I thought,
I have one too.
Jeez, could never get it to
I'm
sound
actually
right.
going to get a monochord because I know I can play a monochord because it's just intuitive. So I thought, okay, let me look at these instruments. Let me look at the sound waves of these instruments. So a flute has a very simple sound wave. What I found inside the egg, it works with the liver. The piano has more of an EKG kind of sound wave, and it works with the nervous system. So then you look at birds, you bring in nature, and nothing is synthesized. We cannot synthesize a bird. How would you know when a bird's going to take a breath? And they take that breath is where the healing happens. So when you take that pause with the flute music and it's a human being doing that music, it's such a beautiful expression and the healing happens in the silence. So I've researched for 12 years now, or maybe 13 now, all these different instruments, how they work with the organs of the body, and put together a protocol. So basically the egg is a relaxation device. You go inside, you have different colors depending on what you want to work on. You have different instruments. Nature sounds are in everything. Nature sounds help heal the DNA. Water sounds will help with PTSD. And we have a lot of veterans that come in and they gravitate towards the water sounds, which is so interesting. And I've done presentations to the first responders with the different counties here in Colorado and received great feedback that they always gravitate towards fountains or water. And it's just, there's a lot of PTSD. And now with COVID, I think we all have PTSD. So almost all of our songs have water, either dripping, ocean, rain, something to do with water. Always include a nature sound. And I design these pieces of music to with different musicians because I'm just the consultant. And it's to be expressed in the small cubic airspace of the harmonic egg. It's the golden mean ratio. And it's a small cubic airspace. So the music really has to flow around you 360 degrees. And we have to figure out the right colors for what you want to work on. But your body heals itself. But we're just resetting it and putting it back into a place of remembering, your body remembering how to heal itself.
Yeah, that's what I really love that. Am I echoing? I don't know. Am I echoing?
No, not on my end.
Okay. I lost my sound. Tom, I'm sorry. I think I got so involved in what you were saying. I think we're okay.
I can hear you fine.
Okay. I apologize. You got me in an altered state of consciousness talking about this. Anyway, yeah, that's what we do in functional. I mean, I love functional medicine because it's just common sense. Okay. If you're stuck in the mud, you've got to get out of the mud. Okay. And trying to remove the things that are preventing the body to do its absolutely amazing work of healing, of correcting and restoring balance and optimal function in the body. So I do understand that this is not a device that does something to someone. It just allows them to get in a state where the body can do what it needs to do. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes, it's totally euphoric. It's totally, I crave it. Now my body craves it. I think my cells just suck it up. And we know that everything is matter and vibrating and and can be healed with light and sound. So we look at the body in a different way. We try to support you as a client and empower you to take the responsibility for your own body. So I do a lot of talks. I just did 2 talks for a college in California where I was teaching the students, okay, if you have a headache, let's look at what chakra might be out of balance, because then we're not going medical, but the body's a beautiful machine, an expression of healing. So it can be an imbalance in the third eye chakra. Well, what brings that back into balance? The indigo light, so maybe eating some purple cabbage, having some purple grapes, smelling some lavender smell. And I can get rid of a headache in a few minutes because I realize I'm listening to my body and I'm honoring what it needs. So when I get a headache, I know I haven't been honoring my body because it went out of balance. And I've got to sit and bring it back into balance. And most people don't do that. And then what happens is it just spirals out of control. Now, of course, if your blood pressure is sky high, you need to get on some blood pressure medicine. But then you don't stay on it for your life. You find out what is the root cause of this. And I know that you understand this more than anybody.
Yeah.
But is it dehydration? Is it a blockage? I mean, what is it? And then we get off the meds. But we love Western medicine for the emergencies. It's prevented so many people from dying from things.
Absolutely.
But we can't they say, oh, that's a magic pill. The magic goes out if you have to take it for your whole lifetime.
Yeah, and there's hardly anything that I can imagine. There are a few things, okay? But most of the diseases, illnesses people have are, first of all, preventable, and they're also capable of reversing them to the point where you're back into harmony, okay? I like that word harmony. As a matter of fact, when I first started my practice, that was our name of our practice, Harmonial Center for Healing. So harmony, and I love the fact that you've got that harmonic egg, and the harmonic comes from the music, I guess, the vibrational music, right?
Yes, and bringing your body back into harmony.
Yeah, I love that. Now, I know we're not talking about this as a healing unit, but what kind of problems would people have that might find this helpful? I guess I would say.
That's a great question. So, anything from A to Z, right? Because our body doesn't know disease by name.
That's right.
It's a dysfunction. It's something that has brought your body out of balance. But what I've found is there seems to be, and you may or may not agree with this, but there seems to be 5 main reasons people get disease. It's inflammation.
Yeah.
It's stress. It's heavy metals. It's autoimmune or some kind of immune function. And then fatty liver, I'm finding, is huge right now. And it's cirrhosis and non-alcohol type, drinking people. So what is going on with the fatty liver? So we see people with Parkinson's. A lot of times Parkinson's, the root causes seems to be heavy metals. And I'm not saying this as a medical diagnosis. I'm smelling heavy metals. When I open the door to the egg, I'm smelling. It's almost like you rubbed your hands together with a bunch of coins, and I'm smelling that. So, and then I'm seeing that they're not shaking anymore.
Yeah,
I'm seeing that. I'm seeing a lot of emotional things. So you could have maybe asthma that's emotional. So my nephew was 4 or 5 years old when both of my parents passed away back to back. So grandma and grandpa died, and they were in his life and then out of his life. He developed asthma. Do you think that was a coincidence?
Yeah.
The lungs hold on to grief, and he lost his best friend and his second best friend like within 11 weeks. And so that asthma comes up and it's emotional. But then, people will say, oh, people just develop asthma, and allergies, and it happens. I really think that there's a root cause that can go back to some simple things. And you look at the mind, body, and spirit needing to be in balance.
Yeah, absolutely. That does happen. Stress and the mental emotional state of all of us has such a huge impact on our health. Um, and in functional medicine, we spend a lot of time on lifestyle because how we're living our life has a huge impact on what happens to us physiologically at the cellular level. So if we're not sleeping, and I bet this would help insomnia because it would go through relaxation, it also decreases our reactivity to stress. Okay, doesn't mean all of a sudden we have no stress in our life, but how we respond to it, what we eat. And I love the idea that of certain parts of the body requiring certain colors. And I hadn't thought about that quite with nutrition, but purple cabbage and purple grapes for, you say, eye problems. I thought
Yeah,
that
for
was,
headaches, for the
yeah,
third eye chakra. Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting. We also look at the movement of the body. I like to use the word movement instead of exercise because people go crazy when I say you got to exercise more. I just say you got to get out and move more. And then the two other critical things is our interconnection with each other, our networking with people that love and support us. One of the things I'm seeing right now is a lot of loneliness. Okay, people are isolated. They've been working from home, and they're not getting out with friends. It's probably gotten a little better recently, and now we're back into kind of another round of this virus. And then the soul or the spiritual aspect. Okay, I have to be careful that I don't say too much about that because people get all carried away sometimes. That I'm talking about religion. I don't talk about religion. I'm talking about the essence of our beingness, which is spirit. And anyway, so this is another platform, I guess, well, another way to bring people back into harmony and balance. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to reach out to you because I remember my experiences in what you did before with a more rectangular uh, uh, bed. I mean, it was amazing. I loved it. Yeah.
I'm totally addicted to it. I love it too.
Now, in the harmonic egg, it's a chair because you said it's a 360-degree, almost a sound surround
Yeah, so
vibration.
the old box had a foam pad that you would lie on and you'd lie flat. And there were a lot of people who were a little bit heavy and that would hurt their back and try to get them to sit back up. It would be really hard for them. And then the foam pad was distorting a lot of the music because the speakers were underneath the pad. So now I have a chair that reclines zero gravity. You can sit the person back up and they can just pop right out. They don't have to worry about, getting up and being stiff from lying flat for an hour. And the speakers are on the side. So you get this circular motion of Victor Schauberger does a lot of work about the cosmic egg and how inside of an egg, there's a constant vibration.
Yeah.
So I use that. I kind of downloaded the consciousness of Victor Schauberger, Edgar Cayce, Nikola Tesla, and Royal Rife. I know it sounds crazy,
No?
but all together, that's really what is happening. And because, people get bored right now. The attention span of people is so short. So the sessions are only 40 minutes and then 10 minutes of silence. And as we talked about, a few minutes ago, healing happens in the silence. So I make people sit in there for 10 minutes of silence just to be with themselves, to connect to their higher self, to connect with their body. And you can feel sometimes or even hear the blood pumping and feel your heartbeat and you're in there. And how many times a day do we really sit in silence?
Yeah, that's true. Talk about pollution. We have noise pollution, just absolutely amazing right now. So, is there any contraindication for
Sure.
people who might be interested in doing this? What
You can
might they
get
be?
a headache and you can get nauseous if you don't drink enough water because it's like a sonic massage. So when you get a massage and the massage therapist tells you you need to drink a lot of water, if you don't drink the water after your session, you could get a headache and some nausea. That's the only thing that I've really noticed. People love it. People absolutely love it.
Are there any people with certain kind of conditions that you wouldn't advise this?
It used to be that we said, congestive heart failure wouldn't be a good fit. But what we found is that that is such an emotional issue for people that the fluid surrounds the heart and, they need to release. So we actually use lower volume because they can't drink a lot of water. So we use lower volume and lower intensity, just as like a children's settings. My boyfriend has a pacemaker. My mom used to come in and she had fake shoulder, the metal shoulder. We have plates in the head. We have, pretty much everything. Schizophrenia is a little tough. So, that's one that is very, it's very tough. But
Which, I'm sorry, say again?
Schizophrenia is a little bit tough.
Yeah.
So, that's a tough one, but we see bipolar, we see depression, we see PTSD, a lot of veterinarians, that help animals, they have a high suicide rate because I think they can't talk to their patients. And so we see a lot of veterinarians that, they want to help these animals, but they just don't know what's wrong with them in a lot of cases. So, they used to call the center that I owned the Healers Center. I think that's what they called it. So had so many doctors that came in and acupuncturists, and for their self-care, they would come and get in the egg. So it was really beautiful. I don't run a center anymore because now I have 64 center owners that I support.
And I noted, okay, I'm going to have Tom put your URL for your website, if that's okay.
Sure.
He's going to put, is there anything else that we want to put up here so people will know how to find out more about this?
That URL has all of our locations. It has, an opportunity for people to buy my book. It tells more about the story. It talks about the science behind light healing and sound healing. It has testimonials. So that's all. There's music you can purchase. So everything's there at that website. So thank you for putting that.
Oh, you bet. Okay. Now, I know, I looked around on your website. There's several places here in Colorado that have this harmonic egg, right?
Yes.
And that's on the website. Okay.
It's interesting how I-25 for Colorado is almost like an artery for us for Colorado.
Yeah.
And the eggs seem to have a consciousness, and they've lined themselves up from Fort Collins to Meade to Louisville to Westminster to Denver to Colorado Springs, and it just all along that corridor seems very strange, but that's really where they've chosen their locations.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that. That's interesting. It is kind of like the main artery in Colorado. I mean, literally.
The eggs help heal the land. We have a Castro Valley location, and she said this is a fault line, and the egg wanted to be here. Now we have eggs in the Netherlands, the UK, coming soon in Thailand, Peru, Denmark. I mean, it's just crazy how so many people have just gravitated towards it. And I don't do any marketing.
That's amazing because I've talked a lot about healing the earth. There's a concept of regenerative agriculture. We actually interviewed a fellow, Quint Matthews. He creates commercial space around the idea of restoring the land and doing a special kind of gardening and agriculture. So everything matters. That's my whole. Everything matters. Every person matters.
Dr. Zach Bush, if you haven't seen any of his work, Dr. Zach Bush, he's brilliant on the microbiome and the soil and replenishing our soil and using earthworms. And I just moved to a property of all things. It's complete sand, Dr. B. Up in Platteville, it's complete sand. All it is sand. There's sand everywhere. And so I have to try to figure out how to make nice with the land so that I can use the land can help me to nurture myself. And I'm going to bring my horse to this property. And I feel like just talking to the land spirits and just asking them, what is it that you need? Because I'm not the owner of the land. Nobody owns the land.
That's exactly
We're the guardians.
That is right.
For the short time that we're here, we're supposed to be the guardians of the land that we walk on, and we leave our energy everywhere. So it's just a beautiful expression. And I want my neighbors to drive by and go, how did she grow that there? Because I'm working with the land spirits.
Oh, that is awesome. My dad was a farmer, and he would go down and pick up a handful of dirt, and he would say, "I'm a man of the earth," and he really was. He knew how to grow onions. I tell you, and onions are such a healthy food for almost all of us. So, anyway, do you want to say anything else to our wonderful audience?
Well, I just want to say thank you for what you do. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We need to be more of more loving to ourselves, more loving to the land, and just remember that everything is energy. So everything matters. The foods that you eat, the words that you use, the steps that you walk, everything matters. So I think that's beautiful to end with.
I think it is too. And I bless you, and I bless your land. We see it being fruitful and bringing forth the fruits of the earth in such a beautiful way. Okay. All right. Thank you. And everybody, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope you can go back and watch the full interview if you weren't able to be with us live. So I'll see you actually, we won't have any more interviews until the new year. So we'll see you in 2022.